So what do I think about Jake Paul versus Ben Askren? Jake Paul is a boxer, right? I guess he's an internet guy, a YouTube sensation, if you will, and he somehow got into the pugilistic arts. This other guy, Ben Askren, is a former UFC fighter. He's actually the guy who got knocked out by MASVIDAL in, I believe it was 6 seconds or 3 seconds, something like that, which is insane. I remember because I was actually celebrating a friend's birthday party at a bowling alley, and we were gonna watch the fight. I was happy because the fight was gonna be shown at the bowling alley. While we were playing bowling, we were gonna watch the fight, and the actual place is in Queens, New York. It's called Dave & Buster's out. Actually, it's Long Island, New York. And I remember specifically, the fight was about to begin, and everything was about to start, and we were in the midst of bowling, because like I said, we were celebrating my good buddy's birthday party. So as I go to release the ball, and I hear everybody screaming, and I'm like, well, the ball didn't hit the pins yet. And then when I turned around, I realized they were screaming at the fact that the fight was over, and I'm like, what happened? And then like everybody was like, he knocked him out, he knocked him out, because the TV screens were behind me. And so I'm like, never mind the bowling, I'm just looking to see what happened, and I couldn't believe it. Yeah, just turned my eye for 1 second, and this kid was and Ben Askren was sleeping. Now, the one thing I'll say about that fight is that although I am a fan of MASVIDAL and the fact that he was able to come up from the dirt and create this name for himself, much like Kimbo Slice, rest his soul. You know, what he did that night when Ben Askren was already knocked out, where he continued to sort of mock him even though the man was unconscious. I think that is unconscionable. And it's one of those difficult things about fighting, because when you're fighting, you're focusing on nullifying a threat, and you're for months upon a time you're training and focusing on extinguishing a threat. And so how do you tell your mind to stop once that threat is extinguished? And so that's one. The other thing is that Ben Askren had made it a point to really poke fun at MASVIDAL in terms of his intellect or lack thereof, and really say some things that I think really got underneath Jorge's skin. So, you know, but I can't ever like look at something like that and feel comfortable about it, because I mean, that's as close to death as you can get when a person is laying there unconscious. MASVIDAL felt like in the moment he couldn't control himself. Then what he could have done is come back afterwards and retracted his actions by saying, look, I was caught up in the moment and I realized that I was wrong and I shouldn't have done that, and it was something that I regret, and much respect to Ben, you know, XYZ. But he didn't do that. What he said is that if he saw him again, he would slap him in the face. And I think that was adding insult to injury. It wasn't appropriate, and in my mind, it wasn't acceptable. I still like George, but those are the type of character infractions that really make you wonder what a guy is thinking. Now, that having been said, obviously this video is not about that fight. And then after that fight, as a matter of fact, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Ben had maybe one more fight after that. If not, he retired directly after that fight. I believe it was one more, and he got knocked out again. If I'm mistaken on that, you can let me know. And then he retired, and you know, he was very gracious in retirement. And now apparently they found an opponent for they found him as an opponent for Jake Paul, and he claims he's getting paid a lot of money, so you can't blame him for taking the fight. I mean, it should be interesting. Ben is not a boxer. That's the thing, you know, and I guess that's the reason why they chose him, because you get the name of a professional, respectable athlete, but yet his strong suit is not boxing. He's one of those guys very much like Khabib Nurmagomedov, where his thing is the sort of ground and pound. get you down on the floor and wrestle you and submit you. So, you know, what can you say? I think everything for this fight is leaning towards Jake Paul. I'm not particularly interested or excited about the fight. If I have a chance, I will watch it, but I thought I should still comment about it since it just came out in the news.
Yeah, I'll give you my 2 cents, and if you're not too sensitive, you'll be able to sense how much sense I actually make. I'm actually great.